My name is Dr. Keely Petty. I am the National Lead Trainer with West Care Foundation. This organization has been around for over 3 decades. We do behavioral health. We do all kinds of stuff. But my favorite thing is that I am part or the National Lead Trainer for the Trauma-Informed Ministry Model. Have any of you heard about that? Trauma-Informed Ministry Model. I only have one brochure, so if you are interested in what that is, make yourself available to flip through this. We're starting a brand new cohort here in San Antonio to teach about trauma. We hear a lot about mental health, but we don't hear a lot about trauma. Now, y'all gonna have to excuse me this morning. I'm going to take these shoes off because when mama's cooking in the kitchen, right, mama got to be comfortable. So yeah, I want you to know that San Antonio is about to start a cohort. This funding came from Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, known as SAMHSA. They have put billions of dollars toward mental health and trauma. This is one of their latest national programs where we are engaging you in a further understanding of trauma. That's the next level, right? So if you're interested, I want you to make sure you sign up at the sign-in sheet, put a check mark to let me know I want to be a part of that cohort. It's only 3 trainings that you'll be going through in this cohort. So it's not long, it's not a lot of your time. It will most likely be virtual, and you, if you choose to join me on this journey, will be one of the first cohorts across the nation who's becoming trauma informed. So I think it's worthwhile. But today I am here to talk to you about a movement that started over 3 decades ago and some change, right? 1987 is about 37 years. And it's called the Companionship Model or the Companionship Movement. I like both of those because you got to understand the model so that when you're in the movement the right way, right? So I like what Shonda Rhimes, anybody familiar with Shonda Rhimes? Yeah, she's written so many incredible series for ABC Network, and herself has dealt with mental health. Herself has dealt with trauma. Herself has dealt with anxiety and defeat and limited beliefs and all of that. But it didn't stop her from being one of ABC Network's greatest writers, right? So this is what she said. I like to open up with this. She said, quote, "You are not alone. You are seen. I'm with you. You're going to be with somebody. That's why you're going to be a companion. And you are not alone." So what I like about this movement and this motto, and the reason I can train you all, I am a national training instructor with Pathways to Hope, and I'm authorized to provide you this training. You don't want anybody trying to teach you anything in mild, moderate, severe forms of mental health, and they are not qualified. So it's so much gibberish now out on social media. Everybody is and it's good that we're talking about it, but if you're really going to help people, you want to make sure you go to true subject matter experts and those who have put years and tears and training and time, etc. But you are not alone. Look to somebody to your left or right and say, you are not alone. You are not alone. And that is part of the message of the companionship model. I'm feeling like I need somebody to hear to say next slide. No clicker, no. So Pathways to Hope, again, is where this this movement is managed. Every movement has to be managed. right? That means something goes in it to make sure that it moves and does what it needs to do. Pathways to promise. We believe that we can lead those who are suffering from mental health infirmities to a promise. This work is connecting mental health, thank you, is connecting mental health, faith, and culture. Never has there been a time, y'all, where faith, culture, and mental health have merged together. This is a epic moment because this has never ever happened. There's never been a time when you would mix the church with mental health. There's never been a time when culture, even though those are those people, they were always tucked away somewhere, right? But now we're learning the language. We're learning that there were so many people depressed in the Bible. I don't care if you are Buddhist. I don't care if you are Presbyterian. I don't care if you are Baptist. I don't care if you are an atheist. All of us have to come to the understanding that at some point in time we all hurt. And some of our hurt never leaves. It stays with us. Like I'm going to tell you how it stays with you. I think all of you all will get this. It stays with you like when your smoke alarm battery go out and you change the battery and it still go off. Y'all know that sound? Yeah. I'm not alone, right? I'm not alone. So it's managed, so you know that it's in safe hands. So look who started this. I call him Reverend C, a man of God, Reverend Craig Renenbaugh. He is the creator. He created this model. And he didn't just create it. It is scientific and evidence-based proven that if you will take these 5 modeling tips and incorporate them when you're working with, see, you're thinking, okay, I don't work with nobody who have mental health issues. It might be you that day then. So you take these principles and you work them out in your own space, right? Because maybe I'm not looking for folks like that, but I do want to be aware that if I'm in line at HEB, I don't want to, and I'm seeing somebody moving and gyrating in a way that ain't proper, I either need to get out of the store or lay down because it's obvious something is going to go on. So this model helps you to understand that. And he just wanted y'all to see what he looked like, see how handsome of a man he is. And he's the creator. He created this model as a way to engage. Some of y'all like, I ain't got no friends because you won't engage. You have to engage. The companionship movement is about people engaging, right? Being aware that I'm here at this moment, so I guess I'm the one that have to facilitate the movement, right? So it's a way to engage with individuals who were experiencing both homeless and mental illness. How many of you know most homeless people, not most, I don't want to sound accusatory, but there is data that shows many people who are living who are homeless do have mental health issues. And people with mental health issues can end up homeless. So you just want to keep that in mind. And again, he went way back, y'all. Reverend Craig went way back, and he took this movement and rooted it in something. He planted it in caring practices that go all the way back before I can even think. It goes back, in other words, to the most ancient of faith traditions. I told you we're in a time we've never been in before, where faith and mental health are merging together. So the companionship, if you're going to take a picture, do this, because I'm a companionship. I went through the course. So now you're able to be principled and practical in your response to someone who's suffering. Principled and practiced. You don't want to try to do something with a person in a moment of a mental health infirmity and you trying to kiss them like that coach did. No. You want to, I'm just saying, because people take advantage of people in their woundedness, in their weakness, and you want to stay principled. Oh, I know that's hard, but I ain't accusing. No, let me look this way. I ain't accusing nobody. I better look at the exit sign while I'm talking to you, right? But keep that in mind. Principled and practical. That means just keep it simple when you are responding to someone struggling. So, and personal. Okay, thank you. So companionship, what do we mean by companionship, right? There are all kind of ways. I companion every time I have to drive in to work. I'm companioning with a bunch of drivers that I don't know. I don't know if they're going to use their signal. I don't know if they putting on makeup while they driving. I don't know if they eating a Chester's hamburger or polo asada. I don't know what they doing in that car. However, I'm a companion with them. Likewise, it's a relationship between what? Equals. It doesn't mean that I'm better than you are and you're better than me. You may be white, I may be black, but you are not better than me and I'm not better than you. I don't care what history has said and done. It's a lie. We are marked by being equals, two humans marked by mutuality. We are neighbors. We are fellow citizens. And if you can see somebody suffering and walk off and walk on by like it doesn't mean a thing to you, you probably need to exit the room now. So companionship is a relationship responsive to distress or suffering. This could be your mama in distress. It could be your husband. It could be your lover. It could be your kids. It could be your kid's teacher. Do you want your children's teacher in distress and ain't got no help? No, because that day may be the day your child is the recipient of that individual's distress. So we see that it's a relationship. Can everybody say it's a relationship? And it's supportive of recovery and wellness. Why? You want people to know this ain't your forever. You're depressed today, but honey, you could be on top of the mountain tomorrow. So we help people understand we support rather, right? Through understanding recovery and wellness. And it's a public relationship. You see somebody in stress, don't pick up that person off of 410 under that bridge, put them in your car and take them home. It's a public relationship. So the motto looks like this. We've been saying distress, distress, distress. Taking pictures, this is a good picture. The whole issue of the companionship motto is to assist persons in distress. So how do we do that? And when we use the word neighbor, we're just talking about people, right? So we do that through awareness and a specific approach. We do that through companioning. You first got to stop and care, right? Then you have to, I would change these two here and here. I would put companion, stop and care first, opposed to the awareness and the approach. Anybody have an idea why I would do that? Excuse me? Exactly. She gets a prize. No, for real. I got prizes. See, when my audience engage, I bring y'all something that you can leave with. And it's a good old, who likes Slurpees and slushies and, oh yeah. See, now y'all gonna be like, I got a question. But I would change that. And again, you are absolutely right, because it begins with the stopping and it begins with the caring. I stopped because I care. Now I got to make sure what I'm seeing is what I'm seeing, and then I have to be very cautious in how I approach that, right? So you also want to be able to partner with professional resources, right? People in the community, organizations in the community. Maybe I can put a Band-Aid on it, but I got to get you to Central Med because you need stitches. You get it? So yeah, I can help you with this mental health issue right now, but this is where I stop. But I can give you a warm handoff to other organizations within the city. Like if it's for kids, you're going to want to know about Clarity Child Guidance. They are out here today. They deal with youth, kids, and teenagers. If it's adults, you're going to want to contact NAMI, of course, right? And see who they are tethered to. But we know that San Antonio Bexar County's leading mental health authority is the Center for Healthcare Services. So, and then you want to maintain connection, but you still don't bring them to your house. Maintaining connection means I'm going to do a follow-up. I'm going to do an after-action plan. I'm going to see what happened to you after I stopped and cared, after I provided an aware and approach. I want to see what happened after that. Y'all watch this. Can you give us some volume? Look at everything in the picture. Crank it up like the club. Maybe I need to crank it up over here. Yeah. What did you see in that? Was that not interesting? What did you notice about everything I was just talking to you about and what you, let me make sure I call your name. Ooh, IKEA? Okay. I need to come shopping, girl. No. But what did you notice? It's exactly what you shared, that we have to stop and we have to care. How many people stopped and cared? Did you notice the time that individual was left suffering? Did you know it went from day to night? What else did you notice?
Well, this is the Good Samaritan.
But what else? That's good, y'all. But I'm pressing on y'all today because remember, we're talking about please let them in Jesus' name. Let them in.
All right.
No, he didn't answer that right. Don't give him no. No, I'm being bad.
People that stop.
The lady, come on.
She didn't know what to do.
Right.
She was scared. And so she just left. And she was aware, but she did the awareness, I think, first before they came.
Exactly. No, she got one. I got it. What else did you notice? Did anybody notice right at the beginning it said love thy? So we going about the day and we see all this signage, but it can mean nothing to us unless I stop and I care. Did you see the gentleman that looked at his watch and he said, ooh, I got to get back to the office? Did anybody notice the dog even sniffed on that individual? Did y'all notice that? See, all of that is involved in what we are talking about when we're talking about this model. Who had the right approach? Did you notice how that individual helped him, took him to the hospital, and came back and checked on him? We ain't got time for all of that. And that's why we don't stop and care.
Well, I used to see downtown when I worked here. There were people that were obviously in the midst of some mental crisis, and it scared people.
Exactly. Thank you.
They would walk on the other side of the sidewalk.
Right, because we don't know you. We don't know you, and we don't know what you're capable of doing. And I don't want to be a recipient of your distress. Now, I'm not saying you go around like matrixing and you just, everybody with a mental issue, you helping. No, even Jesus didn't do that. The Bible says he was moved with compassion, but he knew when to move with compassion. And everybody that was in his space didn't get healed. He stopped and cared and did these 6 areas. Well, part of what we see scripturally when you look at the demoniac in scripture and what happened there. But we see that when we look at this model, we're looking at trauma. We're looking at mental illness, substance use disorder, children's mental and behavioral health, insecure housing, threat of joblessness, issues of aging. Think about Maui right now. There's a threat of joblessness because nobody's going over to the island right now. They think all of Maui caught on fire. So now you got a threat of that and all of that. So when you are engaging, if you don't have sensitivity, if you don't have compassion, and if you don't have concern, now do this with what God put inside of you instinctively. It's called instinct. You got to have instinct. You got to have instinct. You also have to have compassion. Compassion moves you. It doesn't paralyze you. And you also have to have concern. So we pick up signals, y'all, through signals of mental health, stressors. We pick up these signals through what we see, what we hear, what we feel, and what we smell. This sensitivity leads to feelings of both sympathy. Y'all got homework to do. Look up the difference between or the definition of sympathy, empathy, and compassion. It's coupled with concern, both conscious and unconscious. Sometimes you're not aware, but then other times you are. Yes, ma'am.
Could you explain instinct a little bit?
Instinct is that thing, and all of you have done this. You ever have something that say, don't drive to work that way today? Just that little thing that says, no, don't take the usual route today. That's instinct. But then God gives us a two-edged sword because he says, when you become mine, then I give you the gift of discernment, where you can spiritually see a thing for the truth of what a thing is. Instinct. You've never had a moment like that where, you have a thought, I should do this, but no, I'm going to do this. Instinct. It's a natural given gift to us. So when you are concerned, again, it leads to action. You cannot say I care and not do something, right? So we can choose to pass by. You saw all of this in that video. You can choose to observe. You know, I hate when folks observe when something's wrong, when it's a wreck on the freeway. The wreck is over here, but everybody slowed down over here. Why? Because we are observing. We don't plan on doing nothing. We just want to say, ooh, who got hit? Ooh, what happened to the car? Ooh, are they alive? Ooh, ooh, ooh. We're observing, but we're not approaching. So I love this graphic. If you're going to take a picture, take a picture. I'm about to explain it. At the bottom of your screen, you see 4 words. You see awareness, you see connection, you see partnership, and you see mutuality. I want you to think about the order of those words. You don't have to function out of them in that order, but which one appeals to you, right? Which one do you need to up your ante on? When we look at the graphic, we see the first thing is awareness. That's like a radio signal, right? It is, I'm aware that something is going on with my sister. I'm aware that something is going on with my spouse. I'm aware something is going on with my child and it's beyond puberty and pimples. Then I make that connection with nothing in between us. Then there are partnerships, me and the person I'm assisting and the partnerships. Then there's the fact that there's mutuality, because one day the script could be flipped and it could be me. That's that mutuality. So what are the 5 practices? What are the 5 practices? I love the number 5 because the number 5 symbolizes freedom, curiosity, and change. And most people with the mental health infirmity, they want what? Freedom from the voices, freedom from the thoughts of suicide, freedom from the doom and gloom, freedom from the depression, freedom from the anxiety. They want freedom, and they are curious if anybody's going to come help me find that so that I can get to the change that's needed, because what? Recovery and wellness is possible. Just because I had a season of mental lapse does not mean that I'm imprisoned to that for the rest of my life. Okay? Hello? Because I bet I could ask each and every one of you, have you been depressed? Who have in here thought about suicide or tried? I tried. Where my triers at? Anybody? Y'all some really good people. Lay hands and pray for me then. Anyway, hospitality is what we start with. And again, I like to change them around. These are not linear. You don't have to function out of them that way. But Reverend C thought about, what does this model need to contain? What does this model need to have in it? Well, it needs to have hospitality. Are you hospitable? And hospitable could mean that attitude you have, you got to put it on the shelf and smile at people and show yourself friendly. Show yourself friendly, neighboring, side by side, listening, and accompaniment. So when we talk about hospitality, please write your questions, comments, and ahas down. I'll get to them in time. What would you like to be called? Particularly in the hour that we're in with folks transitioning. Whether I agree with that or not, this is the culture I'm in, and I could be looking at one thing, it could be something else. So the wisest thing to do, y'all, is to just ask that individual, what would you like to be called? And don't get caught up in the things you see that like are abhorring to you. No, what would you like to be called? I don't do handshakes no more, but I will fist bump you. I'm going to fist bump you. I'm going to smile at you. I'm going to acknowledge you. Simply acknowledging people, right? Just you're in pain right now. You're agonizing over something, but I'm smiling at you to let you know that I'm hospitable and you are not what? You are not what? That's the mantra. You are not alone. When we look at hospitality, we're talking about commitment. We're talking about enthusiasm. We're talking about leadership. You taking the lead and not letting them lead you. I'm here to help you today. Again, you may be helping me tomorrow, but today is my time. You want to be organized. That's when you connect that to that awareness and that approach. I see your hand. And you want to be knowledgeable of safety issues. One of the safety issues is back, give me 50 feet. Don't be all up on people. Somebody in distress, you don't know if they're going to spit on you, if they're going to cough and try to bite you. You don't know what a person's going to do. I want to help, but I got to be responsible, right? Practical and responsible to the response of their suffering, right? You want to do teamwork. I say teamwork because you really, if you can get somebody over here to help you, you ever talking to somebody like how you tell your girlfriend when we would go to the club, girl, if he's all up in my face and I ain't liking him, do something, so come over here and help me get away from him. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't play dumb. Don't play dumb. We've all done that, right? And if you haven't, it was a fun thing to do. So sorry you missed out. Right? But, you know, we had little cues like, you know, we did. You know, you do that with your kids. Some of you may have done that with your children. So don't ever try to go alone. Take somebody with you. Hey, girlfriend, I got a friend I need to go help. Will you come with me? Just be there. Just come with me for safety. And then you look at, before I move on, can you talk loud so everybody can hear you?
My question was the awareness, connectedness, all the way through mutuality. Where does that go with the healing process? Is that like in tandem with the next slide?
It could be or it couldn't be. This is just to show you that the process may look like this. It may look like that. It may not. Remember, this is Reverend Craig's model. This is what he surmised. And this is what has been proven scientifically and evidence-based wise. And you're saying, does it go in conjunction here? Absolutely.
And so, but I guess it's kind of like a continuum.
It's a continuum. It's not like boom, boom, let me do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it's a remember we use the word a practical response and a process. It is that. So when we talk about neighboring, remember it's a frameless relationship. It's a frameless relationship. It's two human beings sharing a common moment, a common space in the present time. Because 1 in 5 individuals, and really that number has changed, it's 2 in 5, have a mental health infirmity. Does that mean you are doomed? No, it may mean I'm just dealing with depression right now. Right now in this room, you won't call it that because you don't want to label yourself, and we're not talking about labeling, but you have to know, you know what, today's just not a good day. The Calgon didn't do it. The Starbucks didn't do it. The mojito didn't do it. I haven't got time for the pain, but it won't go away. Right here in this room. So we want to avoid alienating people. Why? Because of where they live, their education, their holidays, their politics, what church they go to, if they go to church, what kind of work they do they have family or kids? You don't want to let these things, because maybe you are a PhD like me, but I'm talking to somebody that only went to 3rd grade. Remember, this relationship is marked by equality and mutuality. So it all ties in. It all ties in. I like what Mr. Rogers, anybody familiar with Mr. Rogers? Yeah, he the neighborhood guy, right? He said about 5 things about neighboring. We neighbor different now, y'all, because of technology. Anybody got the neighborhood app? And I be like, stop telling me, so don't send me no more. I don't want no more bing, bing, bing. Just folks just ain't got nothing to do. I'm like, look, I'm about my Father's business, and stop. I don't care that the cat, I love kitty cats, but stop it. Now we relate that way. That's another way of neighboring, but he understood that a majority of Americans, at least 57%, say that they know some of their neighbors. Some 26%, they say most of them. Even in the digital age, neighborly interactions are still more likely to happen in person than in via text, right? So about 2/3 of Americans know at least some. This is what Mr. Rogers said. Y'all trust Mr. Rogers? Listen, he said about 2/3 of Americans who know at least some of their neighbors would feel, ooh, would you feel comfortable leaving your keys with your neighbor? Your house keys.
I already do.
You are, well then you're extra special. Because that ain't the case for everybody, right? I like you, but I don't want you, because I'm like, are you nosy? You gonna be rambling through my drawers and going opening up my medicine cabinet? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Instinct and discernment will be your guide. Because I would say, yeah, we can do this, but I'm gonna need a set of your keys too. Right? I'm giving you mine, I'm gonna want yours. Mutuality. Right? Equality. So we see here that social events like National Night Out, any of you all participate in that? Or their block parties, get to know your neighbor night. However, think about those who live in rural areas. They are less likely to interact with their neighbor. Can anybody guess why? Yeah. Too far away.
The nearest neighbor's 2 miles away.
Yeah, everything's far. So when we look at, again, one of the modeling, we talked about side by side. Side by side in this model means these things. It means that I may be face to face with you when I'm assisting you. It may mean I'm in front of you, right? Face to face and in front are different. They sound the same, right? Face to face and in front. But the way that it works is what makes the difference, and I'll show you that later. In front. Is this person in front of you? Or are you in front of them? What does the dynamic of that mean? Then you're behind somebody, and then you're back side by side. When you look at this picture, who's the person in distress? Who's the person in distress? Can you really determine which one of these brothers is in distress? Who's in distress? Everybody say that, but we really don't know. The guy leaning could be saying, man, Doc, I got some stuff, Doc, some stuff going on. Right? And the other guy's like, oh, Lord, is he finna ask me for some money? Right? So, you know, again, you want to make sure, we talked about awareness and approach. You want to make sure that I'm seeing the right thing so that I can serve it. I didn't even have to say nothing but See? Do you want to be like this with somebody that need help? What did we say earlier? It's a public relationship. This says, come on over to my place. You don't do that with people you're trying to help. The last thing they need is that. Now, they are in front of you. Is that safe? Is that wise? They're like, thank you for helping me. Come on, follow me. Oh, no, thank you. Give her one, because her face tells me she got it. She's like, No, you make sure that if I'm helping you, I'm in charge. I'm not following. I don't know where you taking me. It could be a gang of demons you leading me to. I don't know, but I am not. I'm helping you, but I'm not going to follow you. Look at this picture. What does this picture say to y'all? Do she look comfortable? Does he look happy? You think they just had a good, heated fellowship? What's going on here? The whole point is you're marked by mutuality. See, they clothes tell us, right? That they're in a mutual relationship, right? But something ain't right. Instinct and discernment. And you never let the person you're assisting be behind you. What's in his pocket? He could be under a Chucky anointing. I don't know. He could have a knife. He could really use his foot to, so I'm not, no. You take the lead. Remember, we used the word leadership when we looked at the accompaniment. One of those tiers was leadership. Here's some fun side by side. Even though it's a cloudy day, they engaging. They're like, she's like, I know where to take you to. I got you. Hold on, right? And these two brothers are like just in fellowship, just communicating, just dialoguing. Sometimes if you've got somebody to talk to, it's a form of mental health, wellness, and recovery. Look, side by side, remember I told you there's some dynamics to that? Well, face-to-face, intimate or confrontational. In that one video, that first, and I said, what this guy look like? He did look like he was confrontational. Now, I flipped it. I'm like, he's like, man, I need help. But that posture was confrontational. So again, you got to watch how you get up on people. You got to watch it. I don't get up on people because I've had some bad experiences with halitosis. People get to talk and it's like, oh, I go somewhere. So and no, I'm not saying y'all's breath is not right, but I have just, I just don't get up on people because I used to do that. I don't do that no more. In front, you're either leading or subserving. If they're behind, you're either coaching or pressuring, right? They pressuring you. You don't want to pressure them. Side by side means that we can look out at the world together with no barriers and no special conduits. My favorite section is on listening. Why? Because everybody has a story. I'm in a room with stories. We could put a good book together with everybody's stories in this room. Your experiences, right? Everybody has a story, a past, a present, and a future. That is just the cycle of life. We had a past, and many people with mental health issues are stuck in a past that won't move them forward until they're into their present so that they can obtain that future. So when we talk about the past, we're saying that it's open to interpretation. Somebody tell me why. Y'all all know this. Why is the past open to interpretation when you are working with someone who is distressed? Call your neighbor. Why? You know why? Because I wasn't there. You were there, so you say. Whether it was a fantasy because you were having psychosis or whether it was a real reality, it's open to interpretation because I wasn't there. So the present means we can work on transformation like what you all are doing right now, and the future can be changed. And this is why our rallying cry is recovery and wellness is possible. So when we look at the past, we be like, what happened? What started this journey? Well, what's happening now? And then what's next? And you never want to say, ooh, what's wrong with you? Something wrong with you. You never want to tell your kid, boy, what's wrong with you? You don't want to talk. Remember the word compassion? You don't want to talk. It might be. But the better, more empathetic question is, what happened to you? I do that to my husband all the time. He's like, don't be psychoanalyzed. I'm like, baby, what happened to you today? And he calm on down, right? So what happened to you? Now, I wouldn't talk to someone who's not my husband that way, but I still would say, listen, tell me what happened. You don't have to say what happened to you. You can say, tell me what happened. What brings you and I in this moment together? You want to listen because everybody has a story, whether you are sharing it or not. One of the mantras that I'm breaking is what many of us lived with. I'm going to begin it and I know you can end it. You ready? 1, 2, 3. What goes on in this house? And that is why we have stigma, silence, and shame around talking about mental health and trauma. So everyone has a story. It began early. It began from your mother's womb, and it'll last till you get to the tomb. Tweet that, from the womb to the tomb. Write that down. So you're listening because, I have to say this. Let a person tell you whatever they are able to tell you. Don't be digging for more details because you're nosy. Ooh, I want to know more. And then what? No, let them tell you what they can tell you. Because it can be interesting. You be like, ooh, tell me more. Tell me. No, let them tell you what they're able to tell you. And then let them tell you how they are able to tell you. What does that mean, Dr. Keely? That means if they're cussing, like in this mofo, and this SOB, if they are having a Samuel Jackson moment every other minute, in them sharing their story, don't be acting like you're shocked by that. You don't talk like that, but distress will make you talk and say some things you never thought were inside of you. Am I right? Give me an amen.
Amen.
See what I'm saying? So let them tell you that.
Got me trained.
I have people that say, well, I can't talk to them because I can't deal with all of that profanity. Well, then you don't need to be a companion. Exit the room, please. I'm using that sign back there. Exit the room, please.
Different ways to listen.
Exactly. Do you want to teach this? Here, you go on.
I was going to say, in business, you listen for the facts.
Exactly.
But I had some training here that said you listen to what they think. And you're not trying to compete with them. You tell them your story.
And that's what can happen. This is why you need to understand the difference between sympathy and empathy. The last thing you want to tell somebody if they're in distress because they just lost a parent or spouse or even a pet, oh, I know what you feel. No, you don't. Listen. And if you're a chatterbox, listen. Just let them flow. What are you listening? Why? Tips is because listening is a gift. In certain communities, they call it, I'm an ear hustler. I love that. I never heard of such a thing in my life. I'm like, what's an ear hustler? That means that I'm listening intently. I'm looking at you, but I'm listening to him because I'm ear hustling. I am listening because it's a gift. I'm listening for themes. I'm listening for feelings, right? I'm listening to how my paraverbal. I'm listening to all of that. I'm being careful with how I respond. I don't want to jump on like, hurry up, I got to go. I'm trying to help you, but I got to go. Hurry up, tell me what you need. You don't want to auctioneer your help, right? And then you just want to listen over time, give them some time. Community means people. And you want to listen for hope and encouragement and love. Listen, even in the most painful stories that we have to share, because life hits us all. We all get into the potholes. We all end up over the speed bumps. We all end up in a ditch somewhere. But I'm telling you, even if I got to tell you about how horrible that divorce was, how bad that job loss was, how that woman betrayed me, I thought she was my friend, there is always a stream of hope. In every tear that's shed, there's a stream of hope and love. And just be open, be open, be open. Somebody say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got to say it like that. 4, 5, 6. Why? Because there are 6 facets of effective listening. I added this because people don't listen. Folks like to talk and impress, right? But if I'm helping you, I need to make sure, number one, that I'm paying attention. I need to do this well, to listen with intent. I'm listening intently. I'm not on my cell phone answering a message or text. I am intently listening to you. You want to let the person communicate with and finish with what they have to say before you start. Let them start, and then when they're finished, then you proceed forth. Secondly, you want to monitor for nonverbal communications. The nonverbal communication may be are you looking like, how your face look when you talking to somebody in distress? Is it inviting, or are you in shock at what they're telling you? When you monitor your nonverbals, do some homework and Google nonverbal communication, right? Nonverbal. Are your arms folded like, I wish you would hurry the hell up. Hurry up. How is all of that? All of that's communication. You know, you sitting in a space and all you have to do with your kids is what? Look at them like, didn't I tell you when we got in here what the rules were? I already told you, Johnny boy. And you up running around, all mama got to do is put that eye on him. Do that side eye, and they go sit it down. Y'all know what I'm talking about? If you know what I'm talking about, clap. If you know what I'm talking about, clap. So monitor your nonverbal. Make sure you can paraphrase and repeat back. Sir, did I hear you say yada, yada, yada? And let them confirm that. You don't make assumption. This third facet is to ensure that you play back what you've heard. You want to communicate with in their own language. You want to demonstrate that you've been accurately listening. We've done this with our kids. Did you hear what I said? No, because they were not actively listening, and maybe you was repeating it too much. They just tuned you out, right? So you want to listen for understanding. Paraphrasing and repeating back confirms, there's our word, mutual understanding, and it helps build the relationship with the person. Don't make assumptions. That's why I said make sure to say, what shall I call you? Because you don't know if they're transit. You don't know. I don't know. And do I care to know? Kinda, but I don't want to make no assumptions. So I need that individual, that neighbor who is in distress, to help me with that. So how do I do that? I ask questions to ensure that I've covered all the relevant areas. If you find yourself making assumptions, because assumptions are like opinions. We all got them, but are they all necessary? So check your assumption, and then encourage the communicator to speak. Encourage that distressed neighbor to speak if they can. I have been in a place of pain. I couldn't even, my tears wouldn't flow. And I could just say, all I could do was moan and sigh. So encourage them to speak. The more the person you're communicating speaks, the more information you'll garner from them, right? This is a good picture to take. When you're communicating, you should seek to help the other speak by what? There you go again, with relevant, simple. Don't try to use no suicide ideation. Now, all that word is going to do, you even know how to spell ideation. So you just want to keep it simple. Have you been having thoughts of taking your own life? And even when I teach a suicide course, I have to say this, just because you ask somebody if they are thinking about that doesn't mean that you are a promoter of their decision. Don't wear that label. But do again. What do you see here that you've seen before? The nodding. You don't want to stand there like a zombie. You want to nod, you want to smile, you want to say yes, tell me more. Do share. That's what I say, do share more. And open body language. Then remember, we talked earlier about this movement means you get your whole body involved. What you hear, what you see, what you sense. I'll never forget one time my husband picked up this guy. We in the car, we were newly married, and I was ready to like divorce him because I didn't know what I know now. He picked up this man. That man got in our car, and the odor never left. We had to say, I'm not lying. And I'm in the front seat trying not to regret, because I didn't want to let the dude know, you smell like something from another place and time. And I got so mad at my husband when we got home. I said, don't you ever put me in that situation. You want to pick up somebody, you do it by, did you smell what if you tell me you didn't smell what I smell, we going down to judge, and we getting this thing over with. It was a horrible experience, a moment trying to help. But I'm telling you, it infected the whole atmosphere. So be visual. Important to keep your mind on on what they're telling you, right? You want to be clear of what that person is saying. So you got to keep making sure you understand. How about this? You could be with somebody who has a different dialect. They could be from another country, another nation. So you want to make sure. See, what may mean to us here in America may not mean that to somebody from another nation. So if you get to service someone else, you want to keep all of that in mind. Try to visualize what they're saying. Try to visualize what that person is saying and keep it moving. But also know that you have limits and boundaries. We have been graciously given limits and boundaries. What kind of boundaries? Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. This means you're not the end all, the be all. You have limits. I wish I could run track like I ran in junior high school right now. Can't do it. I wish I could rock climb like I did a few years ago. Not no more after knee surgery. Limits. If the ocean didn't have limits, we'd have a tsunami. The earth would just be a whole big tsunami. If the sun was just a little bit closer to there, and I know it's hell hot now, but if it was a little bit closer, the earth would not be able to survive because of the heat. You have limits. You want to acknowledge your limits because they create reasonable boundaries. Why are we talking about limits? Again, I mentioned earlier, you can only do so much with that individual in distress. This is why you got to have your other connecting factors. And do me this favor. I don't say this word anymore, and it irritates me. Everybody's like, ooh, sorry, ooh, sorry, ooh, sorry, ooh, sorry. Stop it. That doesn't make you nice or polite. For me, it's irritating. And it's something to check. Why am I always apologizing? Now, if I literally punched you in your face, ooh, I'm sorry. I need to say that then. But just every little thing, I'm walking by you, excuse me, I'm sorry. No, I need to sit down. So be reasonable and do it listen, I am not able to assist you in this moment. I'm sorry. No. I'm just not able to assist you in this moment, but I will pass you along to my colleague who is able to do that in return for you. You get it? So when we talk about accompaniment, you're led by the other. You are to accompany and not guide. That is, if they're following you or even in your verbiage, you want to be faithful to your limits within the companioning community. You want to remember the journey and the nature of the journey. What's the journey? You are not alone. I am with you. I see you. I'm going to respond to you practically as I have learned. When we talk about the therapeutic community, this is a medical word you may have heard, but if any of you have gone to a masseuse, you had a therapeutic moment. If any of you took a Calgon, take me away, you had a therapeutic moment. So therapeutic accompaniment helps people with different limitations solutions overcome barriers. These barriers, for example, keep people from leaving their homes. These people who are having mental health issues, it keeps them from leaving their homes. Think about the people on the show Hoarders. Any of you seen the show Hoarders? They can't leave their home. Think about My 600-Pound Life. Some of them have so much weight on them they can't leave their home. So you want to make sure that in my servicing, I can use this tool to help them improve their autonomy. I can even help them develop social skills and interact in their environment in a more healthier way. That's why the show Hoarding, they're trying to engage that individual to have a healthier environment within their home, because that's not healthy to live that way, right? So this can prove to be very effective for people who have social anxiety. So what do I do? The therapeutic characteristics, what does it look like? It looks like presence. It looks like active listening. It looks like respect. It looks like empathy. It looks like authenticity. You know how people say, you fake. You fake. I don't get a genuine sense of realness from you. You're fake. And that would be like a valley girl that talks like this. You really don't talk like that. Give me Jane's voice. So that kind of thing. Somebody trying to come in. So when we talk about presence, you must be with the patients and share situations and moment with them. It's the word patient because, again, when you're talking therapeutic, you are talking about patience, right? I'm going to take that word out and say you must be with the person in distress. Active listening, we went over that, right? Respect. Do you respect people who are poor, or do you judge them? You're lazy. Why don't you just go get a job? If you judge an individual and their distress, you will not be able to successfully help them. Judgment blocks your ability to respect them, to show them empathy, to listen to them. It blocks that. Empathy, understanding, a non-judgmental attitude. Ooh, I just said it. And then authenticity. You don't want to say, girl, I've been there. My man left me too. No, you want to be... You must show them as they are, although they also need to remain professional. You need to remain professional. They don't need to hear about, yes, maybe this is similar, but it's not about you. So I love this section here because it talks about the difference between an emergency and a crisis. We often didn't know that, right? So I am dealing with a person in distress. Is this an emergency? Or is it a crisis moment? It's an emergency if it's characterized by a sense of danger. Remember, we said you get all your senses involved. So if a leg is broke, if somebody has died, if the house is on fire, that's when you call 911. You call 988, a crisis line, to refer a person to help them with next steps. You see the difference? A crisis is just somebody feeling helpless. I'm just feeling real helpless right now. But you don't tie up 911 with that. They get so many calls that really, mental health calls that really should go to 988. Since 988 has been established over a year ago, there have been 5 million calls to 988. So when I'm in distress, am I going to remember 1-800-777-9311? I'm not going to remember that. But I'll remember 988. And that's what you want to be able to share with those persons who are in distress. When we talk about markers of mutuality, this gets that chip off of your shoulder that I'm better than you are. This breaks that because you deepening honesty and authenticity. You are there's reciprocity involved. There's an expanded circle of care. You took a picture of how if I can't, I know somebody who can. You're building trust. There's a network of family and friends. Many people with mental health, their family don't want to deal with them because they've been dealing with them all their life and they're not seeing no change. So you want to make sure that there's a network of community connections. Oh, I can't say enough about self-care. We're almost done. We're almost done. Self-care is important. I like to give the image of an oxygen mask when you're on a plane. The first thing they tell you to do, just in case some distress happens, you put on the oxygen mask first. That makes so much sense. You get the energy that you need so that you can help. Why self-care is important? Because only a healthy you can what? Be a real good support to others. Self-care means knowing your what? There's that word. I've got limits. And recognizing when you are doing more than you can handle. Companion teams need companions too. You need a companion too.
Yeah.
You need a companion too. Why? Because nestled in life, in the life of a community and informed by the community's ways and care and conduct. All that means is if I'm going into a certain community, I need to know the nuances of that community, right? You know, like somebody told me, well, you can't be saying he's a wife beater. Well, he is a wife beater. No, the new language is intimate partner violence. But it's certain communities of color I go into, they don't know what that means. What are you talking about, intimate partner violence? He's a beater. Y'all fill in the blank. They don't know that language. So I've got to be aware of cultural dynamics and all of that. Why? Because companion teams is a space and time for us to anchor, share, learn, and grow together, right? Companion teams, a time to get, you got to get together. Remember I said you don't just want to go, but you want to get somebody to go with you. You two are tag teaming. You want to honor the relationship, right? You want to have, I honor the president. Whether I like him or not, I am bound as an American citizen to honor him. So if I start doing dishonorable things, I will be picked up. Secret Service, FBI will come and get me, right? We've seen that in the news here recently. You want to keep educating yourself so that you have the right thoughts, the right information. That's what CEUs are about, because we want you professionally to stay up on top of whatever you're doing professionally. What worked 20 years ago does not work today. It's still manageable and useful, but there's a more excellent way. And always reflection and contemplation. Where am I going to do this? Why? We said it was a public relationships, and you don't want to take them where? To your who? You don't want to take them to, and in my case, I said, man, that was some stinky jeans. With that man, he should, you know, couldn't we have just given him bus fare, honey? I've learned since then, don't judge me. So how do we start engaging with people? So you may be at a coffee shop, Starbucks, all these new coffee shops coming up, and you see somebody. You don't have to engage. Let me put that out there. Just because I see it doesn't mean I need to engage. This is where that instinct and that discernment comes in. Is this something I need to handle? You may be in a park. It's too high right now, but when it cool down, it may be a park. You may be in a church, a mosque, a synagogue, or a temple. YMCA, community organizations, your bridge club, your bingo club, right? It could be a Meals on Wheels program. We do understand that the companionship does have a new normal. Well, why? Because we went through self-quarantining and social distancing. Companionship still says, though, you reach out to your neighbors. You reopen your heart. You reopen your life. You reopen your business if you can, and then you want to practice the 5 things that we discussed and create a circle of care. I don't think I can play this right now because it's just, I don't know how to do it, but it's a 2-minute video.
Yeah, it's really good.
we have not, thank you for that. We have not understood the difference between sympathy and can you help a sister out? Come on, let's clap it up for help. He's companioning with me today. And he gets a gift. Oh, y'all have to hear this. It's so good. It's by Brene. Are any of you familiar with Brene Brown? My God, she's so incredible. She did this TED Talk, and it's only, like I said, 2 minutes on sympathy and empathy. It was eye-opening for me, and I've been in this work for a minute. It helped me see, you know what? I'm not as empathetic. I'm more sympathetic. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Espresso for the mind.
Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied
Stunned there, yeah.
Okay.
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, you climb down. I know what it's like down here. And you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no. You want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with "at least." And we do it all the time. Because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So, I had a miscarriage. Oh, at least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now, I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
I love, for me, the aha was feeling the feeling. Feeling. The Bible says Jesus felt the infirmity of the people. He felt it. And what we feel may not necessarily be what we are, right? I'm feeling it. I have a headache, but I'm not a headache. I hope I'm not a headache, right? Anybody else have a comment on that?
It's a good reminder to not try to fix things.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, our human compassion wants to see somebody in a better place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our first reaction may be, let me do something or say something.
Thank you for sharing. You get a gift for sharing. Yeah. And so many, go back and look at that, because you're going to pull so much out every time you watch it, right? It's like you'll see a movie and you'll see it again and again and again, like Training Day with Denzel Washington and that guy. He was accompanying him, right? But woo, what a day. So you want to understand that Reverend Craig thought a benediction would be the bow tie on this. So this is what we want to declare together. Can we read this together? 1, 2, 3. I am grateful for all who have been present in my life. Tenderness, understanding, hope, and support. May I share recovery with my neighbor. May our companionship together Isn't that beautiful? Take a picture of that. Take that. And this is good stuff. See, that felt good reading it and having us do it together in a companioning moment. And I want to thank my special friend here, Miss Lori, has been helping y'all. I said when people ask questions, make comments, I wanted to give you all a Operation Chill, so you can go over to 7-Eleven and get you a free Slurpee, okay? So that should help with the evaluations you're going to fill out. Be kind. And in this benediction, we also, Reverend Craig has a covenant, right? Every doctrine has a covenant. And the covenant here says we are called to learn the ways that make for mental health and emotional well-being. I'm going to add trauma. We commit ourselves to be a place where all may grow in body, heart, and spirit. I can't change that covenant. I'm talking about I'm going to change it. That's his covenant. I cannot change it. It says we welcome rather the neighbor who is vulnerable and isolated as we are able. You can say as I am able. As I am able, we share the journey of healing and recovery and help to build a caring. San Antonio is now a compassionate city. I graduated from Compassionate USA as a fellow because we believe if cities, if politicians, if those who have rule and authority over humanity have a stream of compassion, they will make better legislative choices for us all. And here, I love my colleague Lisa Olivia said, she said, quote, just because no one else can heal or do your inner work for you. This is powerful. She said it doesn't mean you can, should, or you need to do it alone. We are our brother and our sister's keeper. And I want you all to be my special guest here. I do as a coach, counselor, and consultant. I'm always coaching, counseling, and consulting. But I thought I want to give some of this away. And the way that I've chosen to do that, I also have my own global mental trauma and mental wellness company where I travel everywhere and talk about this companioning and so many other things. But twice a month, on the first and third Tuesday night of every month, you can hop on my Facebook page. If you are Facebook, I have a large audience there, y'all. In 6 months, I've reached over 10,000 people who've joined this conversation, right? So we talk about, wow, it's a community conversation, meaning anybody can come, anybody, 18 and up, However, you come and we talk about stuff that could promote mental illness in all of our lives. So for the month of September, we're going to be talking about identifying self-sabotage, how you may be creating your own pathway to mental illness, to depression, to defeatism. How? Well, you may have limited beliefs about yourself. Where did that come from? Why am I not my own cheerleader? Why am I not my own fan? So we're going to talk about self-sabotage. I have done TV, radio for years. I do 1 hour. 1 hour only. If you need something after that, you can communicate with me. And listen, for the month of October, we're going to be talking about why attitude is more important than IQ. You think you smart because you got all these degrees, right? But your attitude is so bad, you can't companion nobody. So we need to review that. And I have support. West Care, Texas supports this. The National Council for Mental Well-Being, where I'm a national mental health instructor. And then the Center of Excellence for Trauma-Informed Care. I serve on the board of the Center for Healthcare Services, and I am a committee member of the Bexar County's trauma-informed work that they do. I teach at their Lunch and Learn, so I'm everywhere in my season and in my time, because every one of us has a story. I want to thank you for being a part of my story today. I want to thank you for being a part of my story today. And if you have any questions, comments, ahas, now is your moment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good talk.
Thank you.